A long time ago, a man by the name of Chris was still a relatively young traveler. He just so happened to visit Alaska. The tourist was drawn to the area's enigmatic natural beauty, but his primary objective was gold, which Chris and a group of enthusiasts dug there. They generally stayed in small groups since it was risky to venture out into the wilderness by yourself. However, it so happened that the man left the cabin with his friends staying behind. Many of them were just tired and wanted to relax since they had colds. Chris made the decision to go on a quick expedition, even though he was aware of the risks. At that moment, he had no idea that he would be facing a predator rather than gems. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. Chris was trudging in the snow. He was heading slowly towards the riverbank, almost 2 kilometers from the camp, when he suddenly noticed a big dog. He was taken aback. In the woods, what could a lonely dog be up to? Chris guessed its owners could be in the area. The animal displayed hostile behavior. The man, who was inexperienced and young, made the decision to walk the 20 meters down the hill to investigate what was going on. However, Chris froze when he saw the beast up close. What seemed to be a large gray dog at first was actually a massive wild wolf. The beast gave a nasty growl and bared its teeth upon noticing the guy. The gold digger closed his eyes and accepted his fate, for there was no way out. It did not, however, move. Upon opening his eyes, the man saw that the untamed animal had become entangled in a trap set by poachers. Not only was it a mother wolf feeding her young, but it was also a male wolf. Although it was clear that the animal needed assistance, the she-wolf refused to let the man to approach, and he himself wasn't very enthusiastic about the prospect. Chris was sweating and his mouth was dry. Put yourself in his shoes. He was alone in the woods, and no one could save him even if there were other wolves nearby. What, though, could he do? Will you let the poor animal perish? Chris understood that the puppies may still be alive and that the wolf den might be nearby, so maybe that's what someone else would do. All he had to do was locate them and deliver them to their mother. The paw prints covered a large area. The man asked himself, "What am I doing?" He could feel the fear setting in as he followed the footprints farther and further away from the camp. Before he could locate the den containing the puppies, the man had to trek through many kilometers of snow. The young dogs were fearful of Chris as he approached, just like any other baby would when they saw such a large, frightening human. Chris made the decision to deceive them since there was no time for deliberation. He chose to place some food he had with him next to the den's entrance, and it worked. The puppies, who had clearly been famished for some time, snatched Chris's fingers and started to suck on them. The father concluded that their mother had most likely spent many days in the trap. He pulled out a bag he carried and placed the puppies inside. It took him nearly an hour to return, during which the puppies continued to cry out, struggle inside the bag, and even attempt to snarl. The man heard a loud groan even before he reached the mother wolf. The mother most likely detected the puppy's scent. The 4 puppies ran to their mother, wailing loudly, as the man unfastened the sack containing the small ones. Right away, they buried themselves in her tummy and started making loud chewing noises. The mother wolf caressed her pups and peered warily at the traveler to see what she was up to. The man made many attempts to assist the wolf in freeing herself from the trap, but each time the wolf noticed him approaching, she snarled. With some meat left over, our hero gave the wolf a couple pieces. To his astonishment, though, she declined to eat it, possibly thinking there was a catch. Chris remained there till the late hours of the night, observing the family. He went back to his camp when it grew dark, but he kept what had transpired to himself. When everyone left to work the following day, Chris made the decision to eat more and return to the wolf. The mother was warming her puppies when the gold digger saw that the meat had been consumed. This continued for a few days. The young man would feed the animal every morning, but she would not stop growling at him. But the puppies started to trust the man every day. They cheerfully bounced around him and kissed his hands on the 3rd day already. The mother kept a close eye on the puppies while the guy petted them, and she would call them over as soon as his hands touched the puppies. The stranger lacked her trust. For a week, Chris visited the trapped mother and her pups every day. He had almost given up on ever freeing her, but what else could he do? Let them all die? On the morning of the 7th day, our hero fed the wolf as usual, and she watched him intently. Eventually, the guy looked up and saw that the mother wolf was waving her tail a little, which was a victory. Chris approached the animal very slowly, breathing heavily, and managed to open the trap, releasing the mother, who fled a few meters while calling for her pups to follow her. The family then took refuge in the dense forest. Chris, our hero, never thought he would see them again. The man went back to his Jersey home a week later. He had already moved on from this narrative, only sometimes sharing it with his closest friends, but none of them found it credible. It has been 5 years since these incidents. After starting to work for a finishing firm, our hero found himself back in Alaska, not too far from that location. The man had to deliver a letter to the nearby village one day. He rode out on his snowmobile early in the morning, but it broke down en route. He made every attempt to restart it, but it was unresponsive. It was really chilly. It was growing dark, but the settlement was just a few kilometers away. After traveling 1 kilometer, he noticed a shadowy figure approaching. Being alone away from the settlement, especially after dark, meant suicide, as everyone in the area knew. There was no way out of a pack of wolves, and danger lurked everywhere. Chris went into a panic. He sensed that a flock of raptors was keeping a close eye on him. He observed as they deftly encircled him, circling their target and gradually drawing nearer to him. 5 big wolves were seen to him. Chris was already bidding his life farewell in his mind. He collapsed to his knees, unable to even stand due to the force of his rapid heartbeat and labored breathing. A predator was moving toward him. It halted a few meters away, but it took its time attacking the man. Even though he was terrified, Chris was able to identify the wolf by looking into its eyes. It was the same mother wolf. It was unmistakably her, even though she was much older and her fur had become boring. The beast stiffened up as it observed the man intently. After less than a minute of staring at each other, she went back into the jungle and waved her tail a few times. The pack as a whole soon followed. This time, the journeyer arrived at the settlement without incident, and the saved animal vanished forever into the snow. As fate would have it, a wolf and her young were spared from certain death one day by a man, and the wolf returned the favor years later. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.